Welcome back, Lincoln currency. In the world of coin collecting, there are few things as fascinating, surprising, and downright mysterious as the humble 1-cent coin from the United States Mint. At first glance, a penny seems almost worthless. After all, it's the smallest denomination of American currency, often overlooked and left in jars, under couch cushions, or ignored on sidewalks. Yet hidden among billions of common coins is a rare and extraordinary piece of history, a small copper disc from 1981 that has captured the imagination of collectors and investors alike. The 1981 1-cent coin, often called the Lincoln cent, is more than just a unit of money. It's a symbol of American heritage, a canvas for artistry, and in certain rare circumstances, a hidden fortune waiting to be discovered. Some examples of this coin have been reported to sell for astronomical sums, even reaching values rumored to approach $84 million, depending on condition, rarity, and unique minting errors. And the story of how such an ordinary coin became so valuable is one that begins over a century earlier, with the birth of the Lincoln cent itself. To understand the significance of the 1981 1-cent coin, we first have to travel back to the early 20th century. Before Lincoln ever graced the face of the penny, the 1-cent piece featured a design known as the Indian head cent, which was introduced in 1859 and remained in circulation until 1909. As the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth approached in 1909, the United States Mint sought to honor the 16th president with a new coin design. Victor David Brenner, a talented Lithuanian-American sculptor, was commissioned to create the new cent. Brenner's design featured a profile of Lincoln on the obverse side, making it the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. The reverse originally displayed 2 wheat ears, a simple and symbolic nod to agriculture and prosperity. This iconic design marked the beginning of the Lincoln cent's enduring legacy. Over the decades, the Lincoln cent underwent several design changes. In 1959, to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the cent itself, the wheat reverse was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design, created by Frank Gasparo. This is the design that was still in use in 1981, making the coin from that year part of a long and storied tradition. The obverse continued to bear Brenner's original portrait of Lincoln, while the reverse featured a detailed depiction of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with even a tiny representation of the statue of Lincoln visible within the memorial if you look closely. Above the memorial were the words, United States of America, with E pluribus unum, centered above the building, and the denomination, 1 cent, below. When we talk about the physical characteristics of the 1981 1-cent coin, we enter the realm of precise specifications that collectors and numismatists study closely. The coin has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, a thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and a plain edge. Its weight is approximately 3.11 grams, and it is composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, a composition known as bronze. This is significant because 1981 was the final full year that U.S. pennies were made primarily of copper. Starting in mid-1982, the Mint changed the composition to a copper-plated zinc core due to rising copper prices. This change makes the 1981 coin one of the last of its kind, a tangible artifact of the original copper era. The mint mark of the coin, which can be found just below the date on the obverse side, indicates where it was produced. Coins without a mint mark were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, while those with a D were minted in Denver, and those with an S were produced in San Francisco as proof coins. Collectors pay close attention to these mint marks, as coins from certain mints or in particular conditions can be rarer and more valuable. The 1981 1-cent coin may seem ordinary, but it has its share of mysteries and peculiarities that make it a fascinating subject for collectors. For one thing, there are 2 distinct varieties of the proof coin minted in San Francisco, the Type 1 and Type 2 S mint marks. The Type 1 has a filled or blobby S, while the Type 2 has a clear, well-defined S. The Type 2 variety is significantly scarcer and more sought after by collectors, often commanding a premium in the marketplace. Similarly, coins that were struck with errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or planchet anomalies, can be worth many times their face value. But how does a coin with a face value of just 1 cent ever reach a valuation of millions of dollars? The answer lies in a combination of extreme rarity, historical significance, perfect condition, and collector demand. In the numismatic world, condition is king. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless, mint-state coin. A 1981 Lincoln cent in circulated condition might only be worth a few cents or perhaps $1 or $2 to a collector. However, an example in pristine, uncirculated condition, particularly one that exhibits full red luster, sharp strike details, and no signs of wear, could be valued much higher, sometimes reaching into the thousands of dollars. Add in a rare mint error or an unusual provenance, and the value can skyrocket. Stories of extraordinary penny sales often fuel the imagination of collectors. There have been documented cases of pennies from certain years selling for tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. While an $84 million sale is an extreme and likely symbolic figure representing the absolute peak of rarity and demand, it illustrates the almost unbelievable potential value hidden within common pocket change. It is often these once-in-a-lifetime examples, coins with dramatic minting errors, coins struck on. For many collectors, the journey to finding a rare and valuable 1981 penny begins with careful observation. Most people have handled hundreds, if not thousands, of pennies over their lifetime without ever stopping to examine them closely. But seasoned numismatists know that the devil is in the details. Every small aspect of a coin, from the sharpness of the strike to the subtle variations in lettering, can make the difference between a common coin worth 1 cent and a rare variety worth thousands, or even millions. One of the most common mistakes beginners make is assuming that all pennies from a particular year are the same. In reality, minting errors, variations in die states, planchet differences, and small changes in design details can create numerous distinct types of coins even within a single year's mintage. The 1981 Lincoln cent is no exception. There are known double die obverse varieties from this year, where the lettering or date appears doubled due to a misalignment during the hubbing process. Such coins are highly prized by collectors. Another sought-after category includes off-center strikes, where the design is not properly centered on the planchet, creating a visually striking and unusual appearance. Off-center coins with more than 50% of the design missing and with the dates still visible are especially valuable. Even coins struck on the wrong planchet, for example, a cent struck on a dime planchet or a foreign coin blank, can command astronomical prices at auction. These errors occur rarely, but when they do, they transform an ordinary coin into a numismatic treasure. The story of how coins like this become so valuable also involves the grading process, which is a crucial step in the numismatic world. Coins are typically graded by professional organizations such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC. These companies employ experts who examine coins under magnification and assign them a grade based on their condition, strike quality, luster, and eye appeal. A coin graded MS-60 or higher is considered uncirculated, while coins graded MS-65 or MS-67 are considered gem or superb gem quality. Coins that achieve the elusive MS-70 grade, a perfect, flawless coin, are exceedingly rare and often command premium prices. For a 1981 Lincoln cent, the difference in value between a coin graded MS-63 and one graded MS-68 can be immense, potentially transforming a coin worth a few dollars into one worth tens of thousands. One of the fascinating aspects of the 1981 penny is how it bridges two distinct eras of American coinage. The change from copper to zinc in 1982 was not merely a technical adjustment, it represented a fundamental shift in how coins were produced and valued. Prior to the change, the intrinsic metal value of a penny was closely tied to its face value. Copper was relatively inexpensive, and the cost of producing a penny was less than 1 cent. However, by the late 1970s and early 1980s, rising copper prices meant that the metal content of a penny was approaching, or even exceeding 1 cent in value. This created a problem for the U.S. Mint, which could not afford to continue producing coins at a loss. The solution was to switch to a cheaper composition, a zinc core with a thin copper plating. This reduced production costs but also altered the physical properties of the coin. The 1981 cent, therefore, stands as one of the last examples of the traditional copper penny, making it a nostalgic and historically significant piece for collectors. The sentimental and historical value of the 1981 penny should not be underestimated. Coins often serve as miniature time capsules, capturing the economic conditions, artistic preferences, and cultural priorities of the era in which they were made. In 1981, the United States was emerging from a period of high inflation and economic turbulence. The nation was still grappling with the aftereffects of the 1970s oil crisis, and Ronald Reagan had just taken office as president. The Cold War continued to shape global politics, and technological advances were beginning to reshape daily life. Against this backdrop, the humble penny, a coin that had been in continuous production for over 70 years, remained a stable and familiar part of American life. It jingled in the pockets of millions of Americans, paid for candy and newspapers, and filled piggy banks and penny jars across the nation. Another reason the 1981 penny holds such fascination is its connection to Abraham Lincoln himself. More than a century after his death, Lincoln remains one of the most admired figures in American history. His leadership during the Civil War, his commitment to preserving the Union, and his role in ending slavery have made him an enduring symbol of justice, equality, and perseverance. Every penny bearing his likeness is a reminder of these ideals. For many collectors, owning a rare or valuable Lincoln cent is not just a financial investment, it is a way of connecting to the legacy of one of America's greatest presidents. It's also worth exploring how the marketplace for rare coins operates. The numismatic market is a unique blend of history, art, and economics. Coins are bought and sold at auctions, coin shows, private sales, and online platforms. Prices can fluctuate based on a variety of factors, including collector demand, the state of the economy, and the discovery of new varieties. For instance, if a previously unknown double-die variety of the 1981 penny were to be discovered, it could spark a surge of interest and dramatically increase the coin's value. Similarly, if a coin with a spectacular minting error were to appear at auction, it could set new price records and draw global attention. One of the most fascinating aspects of coin collecting is the psychology behind it. People are drawn to coins for different reasons. Some view them as investments, hoping that their value will appreciate over time. Others are motivated by the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of searching through rolls of pennies and discovering a rare variety, or error coin. Still others collect coins for their historical or artistic value, appreciating them as miniature works of art that tell the story of a nation's past. Whatever the motivation, the 1981 penny has something to offer every type of collector. It is accessible enough for beginners. After all, many people can find one in their spare change, yet complex and varied enough to intrigue even the most experienced numismatists. As the years have passed since 1981, the perception of the humble penny has evolved dramatically. While many people today view pennies as nearly worthless, something to be tossed into a change jar or left in a tipped tray, collectors and historians know that every single cent carries a story, and that story becomes richer with time. The 1981 penny, now over 4 decades old, is not merely a piece of pocket change. It's a historical artifact that has witnessed the changing tides of American culture, economics, and industry. And in the hands of someone who understands its significance, it can become a treasure worth far more than its face value. The journey of a 1981 penny from mint to collector's showcase often begins at one of the U.S. mint facilities that produced billions of them that year. In 1981, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 7.4 billion Lincoln cents, while the Denver Mint produced over 5.3 billion. Additionally, the San Francisco Mint struck over 4 million proof coins intended for collectors. These numbers may seem enormous, but they're precisely what makes the few surviving high-grade coins so remarkable. When billions of coins are produced, the vast majority are quickly circulated, scratched, dented, and worn down by everyday use. Very few remain in pristine, untouched condition. And of those, even fewer exhibit the exceptional strike quality, brilliant luster, and flawless surfaces required to achieve the highest grades from professional grading services. It's also important to understand the role of storage and handling in preserving a coin's condition. Many of the most valuable 1981 pennies today owe their state of preservation to careful storage by collectors who recognized their potential value early on. Coins that were stored in original mint sets, proof sets, or protective holders have a much greater chance of retaining their original red luster and sharp details. Conversely, coins that spent decades bouncing around in pockets, cash registers, and coin jars are almost always too worn to attract serious collector interest. This is why uncirculated rolls and mint-sealed sets from 1981 have become popular among collectors. They offer the best chance of finding coins in gem condition. Another factor that makes the 1981 penny particularly intriguing is the presence of subtle die varieties and transitional features that sometimes go unnoticed by casual observers. For example, because 1982 was the year the composition of the cent changed from copper to copper-plated zinc, there is evidence that some transitional planchets were used near the changeover. While confirmed transitional errors for 1981 are extremely rare, the mere possibility of finding a coin struck on an experimental or incorrect planchet is enough to keep collectors searching. Similarly, die deterioration, repunched mint marks, and subtle hub doubling varieties from 1981 are all areas of intense study among specialists. These small differences might seem insignificant to the average person, but in the numismatic world, they can mean the difference between a coin worth $1 and one worth thousands. The cultural significance of the penny, and the Lincoln cent in particular, also cannot be overstated. Since its introduction in 1909, the Lincoln cent has been one of the most enduring and beloved coins in American history. It has outlasted countless economic cycles, wars, and social changes. It has remained essentially unchanged in size and purpose, even as the world around it has transformed. For over a century, the Lincoln cent has been a tangible connection to the nation's past, a constant presence in the pockets of Americans from every walk of life. In 1981, that tradition was alive and well, and the penny remained a ubiquitous part of daily commerce. But as digital payments, inflation, and shifting economic realities have eroded the penny's practical utility, it has increasingly become a symbol rather than a tool, a symbol of continuity, history, and national identity. This symbolic value contributes to the fascination with rare and valuable pennies. They represent not just monetary worth but a tangible link to the past. Owning a rare 1981 penny is like holding a piece of the early 1980s in your hand, a time when gasoline cost less than $1.50 a gallon, when personal computers were just beginning to enter homes, and when Ronald Reagan's economic policies were reshaping the nation. The penny is a witness to all of that history. And for collectors, the idea of owning a piece of that story, especially one that is extraordinarily rare or valuable, is irresistibly compelling. The legend of pennies selling for millions of dollars often sparks skepticism, but there are precedents that make such valuations plausible. Consider the 1943 copper penny, one of the most famous mint errors in history. In 1943, pennies were supposed to be made of zinc-coated steel due to wartime copper shortages. However, a small number of copper planchets from 1942 were accidentally left in the presses, resulting in a handful of copper 1943 cents being struck. These coins, once considered mere curiosities, have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in some cases, over $1 million. Similarly, the 1955 double die cent, with its dramatic doubling on the date and lettering, routinely sells for thousands. These examples prove that even the smallest, most common coins can achieve staggering value when rarity and demand align. In the case of the 1981 penny, the same principles apply. A normal, circulated example might be worth only a cent or two. But a coin with a dramatic error, an exceptionally high grade, or a unique provenance could easily fetch 5, 6, or even 7 figures. And if the coin possesses a once-in-a-lifetime combination of rarity, condition, historical significance, and collector demand, its value could climb even higher. Stories of coins selling for $84 million may be exceptional, but they underscore an important truth: the value of a collectible is ultimately determined by what someone is willing to pay for it. In a competitive auction environment, where wealthy collectors vie for the rarest of the rare, prices can quickly spiral into the stratosphere. The allure of such extraordinary prices has fueled a global treasure hunt for rare pennies. Every day, thousands of people search through their loose change, hoping to discover a hidden gem. Some scour flea markets, estate sales, and garage sales for old coin collections. Others buy sealed rolls of unsearched pennies online, dreaming of finding a rare variety. The possibility, however remote, that a coin worth tens of millions could be hiding in plain sight is a powerful motivator. And even if the most one finds is a valuable error coin worth a few $100s, the thrill of discovery is its own reward. For serious collectors and investors, the strategy often involves more than just searching. It requires research, networking, and a deep understanding of the market. Successful numismatists study auction records, read specialized literature, and stay up to date with the latest discoveries and trends. They learn to recognize subtle diagnostic markers that distinguish genuine rarities from ordinary coins. They also build relationships with dealers, grading companies, and fellow collectors, gaining access to opportunities and information that might not be available to the general public. In this sense, collecting rare pennies is both an art and a science, a pursuit that rewards patience, knowledge, and persistence. The economics of coin collecting also intersect with broader trends in the collectibles market. In recent years, there has been a surge of interest in tangible assets, from rare stamps and vintage watches to classic cars and fine art. As investors seek alternatives to volatile financial markets, collectibles with historical and cultural significance have become increasingly attractive. Rare coins, with their limited supply, intrinsic value, and global appeal, are at the forefront of this movement. A 1981 penny that might have seemed insignificant decades ago could today be viewed as a blue-chip collectible, a store of value with the potential for long-term appreciation. The appeal of the 1981 penny also extends beyond the United States. American coins are collected around the world, and the Lincoln cent is one of the most recognizable coins ever minted. International collectors are drawn to its historical significance, its iconic design, and its role in the broader story of U.S. coinage. As the global numismatic community grows, so too does the demand for rare and high-grade examples of classic coins like the 1981 cent. This global demand further fuels the possibility of extraordinary prices at auction, as collectors from different countries compete for the same rare pieces. One of the more subtle yet deeply meaningful aspects of the 1981 penny, and indeed, all Lincoln cents, is how they embody the idea that greatness can be found in small things. A coin worth just 1 cent may seem insignificant, but it carries with it over a century of history, artistry, and symbolism. It has survived wars, economic depressions, and countless cultural shifts. It has been handled by millions of people, each with their own stories and struggles. It has served as a teaching tool for children learning about money, a symbol of thrift and saving, and even a lucky charm carried in wallets and pockets. The penny is woven into the fabric of American life in a way that few other objects are. And the 1981 penny, as one of the last of the traditional copper cents, holds a special place in that story. The composition of the coin, as mentioned before, is one of its most defining features. At 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, the 1981 cent represents the end of an era. Copper has a warmth and weight that zinc lacks, and many collectors argue that copper pennies simply feel more substantial and satisfying to hold. The shift to a zinc core in 1982 was a practical decision driven by economics, but it also marked a subtle loss of tradition. For collectors, the 1981 cent and its predecessors are tangible reminders of a time when coins were made of valuable metal, not just plated steel or cheaper alloys. This connection to the past adds an intangible layer of value that goes beyond mere dollars and cents. Weight, too, plays a critical role in the identity of the 1981 penny. At 3.11 grams, it is noticeably heavier than the post-1982 cents, which weigh only 2.5 grams. This difference may seem small, but it is a key diagnostic feature for identifying pre-1982 pennies and verifying their authenticity. In fact, weight is often the first test collectors use when sorting through large numbers of pennies to separate the copper coins from the zinc ones. Some enthusiasts even collect pre-1982 copper pennies by the pound, storing them as a hedge against rising copper prices or as a long-term investment. While it is currently illegal to melt US cents for their metal content, the intrinsic value of the copper in a 1981 penny often exceeds its face value, adding yet another layer of appeal. The story of the 1981 penny also intersects with broader economic and cultural trends. During the early 1980s, the United States was undergoing significant change. Inflation had eroded the purchasing power of money, and the cost of producing coins was becoming a growing concern for the U.S. Mint. At the same time, technological advancements were transforming industries, and the rise of digital systems was beginning to reshape the way people thought about money itself. In this context, the penny, a coin that had been in circulation for over a century, faced an uncertain future. Debates over whether to eliminate the cent altogether were already underway, and they continue to this day. Yet despite these challenges, the penny endured, a testament to its deep cultural resonance and its symbolic role in American life. Part of what makes the 1981 penny so captivating is the way it straddles this line between past and future. It is a product of a bygone era, a time when coins were heavier, more substantial, and more closely tied to their metal value. Yet it also exists on the cusp of a new age, one in which the physical form of money is increasingly overshadowed by digital transactions and electronic payments. In this sense, the 1981 penny is both a relic and a relic in waiting, a piece of the past and a symbol of what money once was, even as society moves towards something entirely different. Collectors who focus on Lincoln cents often speak of the series as a microcosm of American history. Each year tells a story. The 1909 VDB cents mark the beginning of the series and the introduction of a president's portrait on U.S. circulating coinage. The 1943 steel cents reflect the realities of World War II and the nation's mobilization of resources. The 1955 double die cent is a testament to the mysteries of the minting process and the thrill of numismatic discovery. And the 1981 cent tells the story of transition, of a nation and a mint grappling with economic pressures, technological change, and the evolving meaning of money. Seen in this light, collecting Lincoln cents is not just a hobby. It is a way of exploring and understanding the American story through the lens of its smallest coin. The market for 1981 pennies reflects this depth of meaning and history. On the low end, circulated examples remain common and are often sold in bulk for little more than their copper value. Uncirculated examples, especially those with original red luster, typically sell for a few dollars. Proof coins from San Francisco, particularly those with the Type 2S mint mark, can fetch significantly more, sometimes reaching into the hundreds of dollars for top-graded specimens. Error coins and rare varieties, depending on their type and condition, can command prices in the thousands or tens of thousands. And those rare, once-in-a-generation examples, coins with dramatic errors, perfect grades, or unique histories, are the ones that capture headlines with their multimillion-dollar valuations. It is in these extraordinary coins that the magic of numismatics truly comes alive. Imagine discovering a 1981 penny struck on a foreign planchet, perhaps one intended for a Canadian cent or a dime. Such coins are known to exist and can sell for astonishing sums. Or consider a double die variety with dramatic doubling on Lincoln's profile or the inscriptions. Such a coin could become a centerpiece of a world-class collection. Even more extraordinary are coins with multiple errors, a double die struck off-center on the wrong planchet, for example. These rare anomalies are numismatic masterpieces, each telling a story of how even the most precise industrial processes can produce moments of beautiful imperfection. For many collectors, the pursuit of such rarities is a lifelong passion. They spend years studying die varieties, attending coin shows, and scouring auction catalogs. They develop relationships with dealers, join numismatic societies, and share discoveries with fellow enthusiasts. The search is not just about money, it's about the joy of discovery, the satisfaction of learning, and the connection to history that comes from holding a coin that has outlasted generations. In a world that often feels fleeting and digital, coins like the 1981 penny offer something tangible, enduring, and profoundly human. It's also worth mentioning the role of technology in modern coin collecting. Tools such as digital microscopes, high-resolution photography, and online databases have made it easier than ever to study and authenticate coins. Websites and forums allow collectors to share information, seek opinions, and stay informed about the latest discoveries. Auction platforms bring rare coins to a global audience, expanding the market and increasing competition. Even social media has become a powerful tool for numismatists, with collectors showcasing their finds, teaching others, and building communities around their shared passion. All of this technology has elevated the profile of coins like the 1981 penny, transforming what was once a niche hobby into a global phenomenon. The educational value of coin collecting is another reason why coins like the 1981 cent remain relevant. Collecting teaches patience, attention to detail, and critical thinking. It encourages research and historical inquiry. It fosters an appreciation for art, design, and craftsmanship. For young collectors, a penny collection can be an entry point into broader studies of history, economics, and culture. For older collectors, it can be a way to reconnect with the past and preserve it for future generations. In classrooms, museums, and homes across the country, coins continue to serve as powerful educational tools, sparking curiosity and inspiring learning. The longevity of the Lincoln cent, and of the 1981 penny in particular, also speaks to the power of tradition. Despite repeated debates over whether to eliminate the penny, it has remained in circulation for more than a century. Part of the reason is practical. Eliminating the penny would require rounding transactions to the nearest 5 cents, which could have unintended economic consequences. But part of the reason is emotional. The penny is deeply ingrained in American culture. Phrases like, "A penny for your thoughts, a penny saved is a penny earned," and "Find a penny, pick it up," reflect its place in the national consciousness. It may be worth just 1 cent, but its symbolic value is immeasurable. Every coin has a life story, and the 1981 penny story is richer and more complex than most people ever realize. Think for a moment about how many hands a single coin might pass through in its lifetime. It might start its journey at the U.S. Mint, freshly struck and gleaming, then travel through banks, stores, and pockets, buying everything from chewing gum to postage stamps. It might sit forgotten in a piggy bank for decades or be tossed into a wishing well. It might cross state lines, even borders, and end up halfway around the world. And yet, through all those journeys, it carries with it the same design, the same weight, the same copper glow, a silent witness to countless everyday moments. This is part of what makes coins like the 1981 cent so compelling. They are not just objects but participants in the stories of millions of people. For collectors, part of the magic of coin collecting lies in rediscovering those stories. When you hold a 1981 penny in your hand, you're not just holding a piece of metal, you're holding a tangible connection to a specific moment in time. You're touching something that was created during a particular year, under particular economic and political conditions, using technology and materials of that era. It's a time machine you can hold in your palm. And in a world where so much of our interaction with money is now digital, where numbers flicker across screens rather than passing from hand to hand, that physical connection is more meaningful than ever. The pursuit of the rarest and most valuable 1981 pennies also speaks to something deeply human, the desire to discover hidden treasure. It's the same impulse that drives people to search for gold, dig for artifacts, or hunt for fossils. There's an undeniable thrill in knowing that something extraordinary could be hiding in plain sight. That unassuming penny rattling around in your change jar might be a once-in-a-lifetime era coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. That roll of pennies from the bank might contain a gem-quality, mint-state coin that will one day sell for a small fortune. The possibility, however slim, keeps collectors searching, and keeps the legend of the 1981 penny alive. The potential for extraordinary value is heightened by the fact that the 1981 penny is now over 40 years old. In the world of coin collecting, age adds character, scarcity, and desirability. As time passes, coins are lost, damaged, or destroyed, and the number of surviving examples dwindles. This natural attrition means that high-grade specimens become rarer with each passing decade. Even if billions were minted originally, the number that remain in pristine condition is only a fraction of that total. And in the numismatic market, rarity and condition are two of the most powerful drivers of value. Another factor that continues to shape the value of coins like the 1981 penny is the role of auctions and record-breaking sales. Whenever a coin sells for an eye-popping price, it has a ripple effect throughout the collecting community. It raises awareness, sparks new interest, and often drives up prices for similar coins. For example, when a rare Lincoln cent sells for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, collectors and investors alike start looking more closely at their own collections. They ask questions, seek appraisals, and sometimes uncover rare varieties they didn't even know they had. This dynamic helps keep the market vibrant and ensures that coins like the 1981 cent remain in the spotlight. The mythic $84 million figure associated with certain rare pennies, while extraordinary, reflects this broader phenomenon. It's not just about the intrinsic value of the coin, it's about the convergence of history, rarity, condition, demand, and collector psychology. It's about what happens when a once common object becomes an irreplaceable artifact, when a piece of everyday life transforms into a masterpiece of historical and numismatic significance. And it's about the passion of collectors who are willing to pay almost any price to own the rarest and most extraordinary pieces. Beyond their monetary worth, coins like the 1981 penny also serve as tools for preserving history. They remind us of the past, of who we were, what we valued, and how we lived. They connect us to great figures like Abraham Lincoln and to the ideals he stood for. They tell stories of technological innovation, economic change, and artistic achievement. And they carry forward traditions that stretch back centuries, linking us to the long human history of coinage and commerce. In a very real sense, every coin is a historical document, one that you can hold, study, and even spend. This historical dimension is part of what makes coin collecting such a rewarding pursuit. It's not just about accumulating objects, it's about understanding the world they came from. A 1981 penny can lead you down countless paths of exploration, into the history of U.S. monetary policy, the evolution of minting technology, the life and legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the economic conditions of the early 1980s, and more. Each coin is a doorway to knowledge, and the more you learn, the deeper your appreciation becomes. For those new to collecting, the 1981 penny is an excellent starting point. It's common enough that beginners can easily find examples to study and collect, yet varied and complex enough to provide endless opportunities for discovery. Beginners can start by learning how to grade coins, how to identify mint marks and varieties, and how to store and protect their collections. As they gain experience, they can branch out into more specialized areas, searching for rare errors, pursuing high-grade examples, or even assembling complete date and mint mark sets. Along the way, they'll join a vibrant and welcoming community of fellow enthusiasts who share their passion. Veteran collectors, meanwhile, continue to find new challenges and new joys in coins like the 1981 cent. No matter how many years you've been collecting, there's always something new to learn, a new variety to discover, or a new record to chase. And for some, the ultimate goal, the dream of finding that once-in-a-lifetime coin, remains as compelling as ever. Whether it's an ultra-rare proof, a spectacular mint error, or a flawless mint state example, the hunt never truly ends. And that's part of what makes coin collecting such a timeless and rewarding pursuit. In reflecting on the story of the 1981 penny, it becomes clear that its significance extends far beyond its face value. It is a piece of art, a piece of history, and a piece of the American story. It is a symbol of perseverance, of a design and a denomination that have endured for more than a century. It is a testament to the skill and craftsmanship of the artists and engravers who created it. It is a witness to the changes and challenges of the nation it serves. And it is a reminder that even the smallest objects can hold immense meaning and value. Perhaps most importantly, the 1981 penny reminds us that value is not always measured in dollars. Its true worth lies in the connections it forges, between past and present, between art and industry, between history and everyday life. It lies in the curiosity it inspires, the knowledge it imparts, and the joy it brings to those who seek it. And it lies in the simple, enduring truth that something as small and ordinary as a penny can, under the right circumstances, become something extraordinary. So the next time you come across a penny, especially one dated 1981, take a moment to look at it closely. Notice the fine details of Lincoln's profile, the intricate lines of the memorial, the weight and warmth of the copper. Think about the countless stories that coin might have witnessed, the hands it has passed through, the history it represents. And remember that within that tiny piece of metal lies a world of possibility, a world where history, art, economics, and human passion collide. It's a world where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where a single cent can be worth millions, and where even the humblest coin can hold the power to fascinate, inspire, and endure. The legend of the 1981 penny is not just about money, it's about meaning. It's about the thrill of discovery, the beauty of craftsmanship, the weight of history, and the enduring allure of the hunt. It's about the people who dedicate their lives to studying, collecting, and preserving these small pieces of the past. And it's about the universal human desire to find treasure, not just in the ground or the sea, but in the most unexpected places, like the loose change in your pocket. In the end, the story of the 1981 penny is the story of all coins, a story of transformation. It is the story of how raw metal becomes art, how art becomes money, how money becomes history, and how history becomes treasure. It is the story of how something so small and ordinary can come to mean so much. And it is a story that will continue to unfold, as new generations of collectors take up the hunt, new discoveries are made, and new records are set. The penny may be small, but its story is vast, and it is far from over. The fascination surrounding the 1981 penny doesn't end simply with its design, its copper content, or even its connection to Abraham Lincoln. The more one studies this humble cent, the more layers of meaning begin to emerge, and the more it reveals about the society that created it. Consider, for example, the way coins serve as miniature time capsules of the national mood. In 1981, the United States was navigating economic uncertainty, inflationary pressures, and shifting political landscapes. Ronald Reagan had just taken office, promising to reshape the economy and reignite American confidence. The Cold War still loomed large, and technology was on the brink of transformation. The 1981 penny was struck in the midst of all this, a tiny copper witness to an era of profound change. Even the decision to continue producing the penny at all during this time reflected broader societal debates. Many economists argued that the cent had outlived its usefulness and cost more to produce than it was worth. Others insisted that eliminating it would disrupt pricing, transactions, and even the psychological understanding of value. The choice to keep the penny, and to maintain its traditional design, speaks to a cultural attachment that transcends logic and economics. The 1981 penny, therefore, is not just a coin, it is a symbol of continuity in a rapidly changing world, a small but powerful reminder of America's commitment to tradition even amid transformation. This duality, the penny as both an artifact of change and a vessel of tradition, is part of what makes it so compelling to collectors and historians alike. When you hold a 1981 cent, you are holding a contradiction, a relic of the past that still circulates in the present, a piece of tradition that persisted through change, and a symbol of value in a world where value itself is constantly being redefined. These contradictions enrich the coin's story and deepen its significance far beyond its monetary worth. One of the most interesting phenomena in numismatics is how the stories attached to coins evolve over time. When the 1981 penny was first minted, it was just another cent, one among billions, destined for cash registers, pockets, and piggy banks. Few people would have imagined that, decades later, certain specimens would become coveted treasures worth thousands, or even millions of dollars. But as time passed, as conditions changed, and as collectors' tastes evolved, the coin's meaning transformed. What was once ordinary became extraordinary. What was once common became rare. This transformation is at the heart of coin collecting, The idea that time itself is what turns metal into treasure. It's also worth reflecting on the physical journey of the 1981 penny over the decades. Many of these coins have traveled vast distances, circulating from city to city, state to state, even continent to continent. They've been carried by millions of individuals, each with their own stories, hopes, and struggles. Some have been polished smooth by decades of handling. Others have been preserved in pristine condition, locked away in collections since the day they were struck. Each coin bears the marks of its own unique journey, tiny scratches, subtle color changes, and other signs of life that tell a story no mint record ever could. This individuality is another reason collectors are drawn to coins. Each piece is not just a unit of currency but a singular artifact with its own biography. Among the most fascinating aspects of the 1981 penny are the stories of remarkable discoveries. There are countless anecdotes of people finding rare varieties in pocket change or uncirculated rolls. A casual collector might purchase a bank box of pennies, sort through them on a quiet weekend, and stumble upon a double-die variety worth thousands. A metal detector enthusiast might uncover a mint error buried in a park or old homestead. Even children, searching through a jar of coins, have been known to find treasures that seasoned collectors covet. These stories fuel the enduring excitement of the hobby, the knowledge that a life-changing discovery could be hiding in the most mundane places. The world of coin grading adds yet another layer of depth to the 1981 penny story. Grading is a meticulous process, involving careful examination of a coin's condition, luster, strike quality, and overall eye appeal. Professional grading services use standardized scales to assign grades, with higher grades commanding exponentially higher prices. A 1981 penny graded MS-60 might be worth only a few dollars, while one graded MS-67 or MS-68 could be worth hundreds or thousands. Proof coins, with their mirror-like surfaces and sharp details, are judged even more stringently, and flawless specimens can achieve astronomical values. This emphasis on condition underscores an essential truth of numismatics. Rarity is not just about how many coins were made, but how many have survived in top condition. As collectors and investors continue to focus on coins like the 1981 cent, the market evolves in response. Prices fluctuate based on demand, discoveries, and broader economic trends. Periods of heightened interest, often triggered by record-breaking auction sales or media coverage, can lead to surges in value, while quieter periods might see prices stabilize or dip. For long-term collectors, these cycles are part of the fun. They understand that coin collecting is not just a hobby but a dynamic ecosystem, shaped by history, technology, and human passion. And they know that the true reward is not just financial, it's the satisfaction of building a collection, deepening their knowledge, and preserving a piece of history. The 1981 penny also holds lessons for the future of money itself. As society moves toward digital currencies and cashless transactions, physical coins may eventually disappear from everyday life. When that happens, the humble penny, once so ubiquitous, will become a relic of a bygone era. Future generations may look at coins the way we now look at ancient Roman denarii or medieval groats, as fascinating artifacts that reveal how people once lived, traded, and thought about value. The 1981 penny, with its links to the past and its place in modern memory, will be a particularly poignant reminder of this transition. For those who seek to preserve and pass down their collections, coins like the 1981 cent offer a unique opportunity. They are small, durable, and deeply symbolic, ideal heirlooms to share with children and grandchildren. A well-curated collection can tell a family's story as well as a nation's, connecting generations through shared curiosity and discovery. And who knows? The penny tucked away today might one day fund a future dream, inspire a lifelong passion, or spark a career in history, art, or economics. As we journey deeper into the world of the 1981 penny, it becomes increasingly clear that this coin is not merely a collectible. It is an entire universe waiting to be explored. And within that universe lies a realm that only the most dedicated and passionate collectors dare to enter, the realm of advanced collecting, strategic acquisition, and the pursuit of ultra-rare specimens that can change the trajectory of a collection, and even a life. This is where patience, expertise, and a bit of luck converge to create opportunities that few ever experience but many dream of. One of the first strategies advanced collectors use when seeking out exceptional 1981 pennies is what's known as cherry picking. This term refers to the careful and methodical examination of ordinary-looking coins to identify rare varieties, subtle mint errors, or exceptionally well-preserved examples that others have overlooked. Cherry picking requires sharp eyes, extensive knowledge, and often years of practice. A collector might spend hours sifting through hundreds or even thousands of coins, examining them under magnification and in various lighting conditions, all in search of that one special find. It is not uncommon for a coin purchased for a few cents to later sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars because a skilled collector recognized something extraordinary about it. Another advanced technique involves understanding die states and die varieties, subtle changes that occur as coin dies wear out or are modified over time. The 1981 penny, like all coins, was struck using multiple dies that wore down and occasionally cracked during production. These changes can result in features like die cracks, die clashes, or repunched mint marks, all of which can significantly increase a coin's value. Some collectors specialize exclusively in cataloging and collecting these varieties, turning their collections into detailed records of the minting process itself. In the world of numismatics, even the smallest imperfection can be a treasure if it tells a unique story about how a coin was made. Auction strategies also play a vital role for serious collectors seeking top-tier 1981 pennies. Public auctions hosted by major numismatic firms are often where the rarest and most valuable specimens appear, and competing in these events requires careful planning. Collectors study past auction results, analyze grading trends, and often consult with experts before placing their bids. Many choose to focus on coins that are not just rare but also have strong eye appeal. Coins with deep red luster, flawless surfaces, and crisp details. These factors often determine which coins break price records and which remain relatively affordable. In the ultra-competitive world of high-end coin auctions, knowledge is power, and preparation can be the difference between success and missed opportunity. Networking within the collecting community is another powerful tool. Numismatics is as much about people as it is about coins, and relationships can open doors to opportunities that might never appear in public markets. Seasoned collectors often trade information, share leads on private sales, and sometimes even exchange coins among themselves. Attending coin shows, joining numismatic societies, and participating in online forums are excellent ways to build these connections. In many cases, the most extraordinary finds, including rare 1981 pennies, change hands privately long before they ever reach an auction block. The psychology of collecting is another fascinating aspect that advanced numismatists study deeply. While financial investment is a major motivator for some, for many collectors, the drive to complete a set, discover something rare, or preserve a piece of history is far more powerful. The emotional connection to a coin often outweighs its market value, and this passion is what fuels the intense demand for rare specimens. A collector might spend years searching for a single elusive variety, and when they finally acquire it, the satisfaction is immeasurable, a feeling that transcends money. This emotional dimension is part of what makes the hobby so enduring and why coins like the 1981 cent continue to captivate generation after generation. Another intriguing element of advanced collecting is provenance, the documented history of a specific coin. A 1981 penny that can be traced back to a notable collection, famous auction, or significant discovery often carries a premium over a similar coin without such documentation. Provenance adds a layer of narrative and prestige that appeals to collectors and investors alike. In some cases, coins with remarkable backstories, such as those found in shipwrecks, historic buildings, or legendary hoards, become famous in their own right and command extraordinary prices simply because of the stories attached to them. As the global numismatic market continues to expand, international interest in U.S. coins, including the 1981 penny, has grown significantly. Collectors from around the world are drawn to the Lincoln cent because of its iconic design, its connection to American history, and its remarkable longevity. This global demand has added new dimensions to the market, creating competition and driving prices upward, particularly for the rarest and most desirable specimens. What was once a primarily American hobby has become a global pursuit, with collectors from Europe, Asia, and beyond competing for the same coveted coins. Technology, too, has revolutionized the way advanced collectors approach the hunt for rare 1981 pennies. High-resolution imaging allows for detailed analysis of die varieties and subtle features that would have been difficult to detect just a few decades ago. Online databases and auction archives provide instant access to pricing trends and historical sales data. Digital marketplaces enable collectors to buy and sell coins across continents with the click of a button. And new developments in blockchain technology are even beginning to allow coins to be authenticated and tracked digitally, adding new layers of security and provenance to the hobby. For those who view coin collecting as an investment, diversification is a key principle. While the 1981 penny can certainly be a valuable component of a numismatic portfolio, wise collectors spread their investments across multiple coins, denominations, and time periods. They balance rare, high-value pieces with more common but historically significant ones. They pay attention to market cycles, buying strategically when prices are low and selling when demand peaks. And they always remember that the true value of a collection is not measured solely in dollars, but in the depth, breadth, and historical significance of the coins it contains. As we move deeper into the saga of the 1981 penny, it becomes evident that this coin's story is not just about the past, it is also about the future. The journey of any collectible object is a living, breathing narrative that changes as society changes, and the humble 1-cent coin is no exception. Its value today is not the same as it was yesterday, and it will certainly not be the same decades from now. This is because coins do not exist in isolation. They are shaped by economic forces, cultural trends, technological advancements, and human passions. To truly understand the potential of the 1981 penny, one must look beyond the present and imagine what lies ahead. One of the most compelling aspects of coin collecting, and one of the reasons why coins like the 1981 penny can achieve astronomical values, is scarcity over time. It is a simple principle but a powerful one. As time passes, the number of coins available in top condition inevitably decreases. Coins are lost, spent, damaged, or melted down. Others are hoarded but not properly stored, leading to corrosion, wear, and diminished quality. Even coins kept in collections are sometimes mishandled, cleaned, or improperly conserved. As a result, the pool of pristine, investment-grade specimens shrinks every year. This natural process of attrition is what turns ordinary coins into extraordinary rarities over time. Consider, for example, coins from the 1800s that were once as common as the 1981 penny. Today, many of those coins are considered national treasures, commanding millions of dollars at auction. There is every reason to believe that as the decades march on, the 1981 penny, particularly rare varieties and high-grade examples, will follow a similar trajectory. Future collectors may look back on the early 1980s as a golden age of copper coinage and compete fiercely for the few remaining examples. What seems common now will one day seem scarce, and what seems scarce now will one day be legendary. Market trends also suggest that rare coins, including high-grade Lincoln cents, are increasingly viewed not just as collectibles but as alternative investments. In an era of volatile stock markets and fluctuating currencies, tangible assets like coins offer stability and diversification. They are portable, durable, and universally recognized. They are also finite. No more 1981 pennies will ever be made, and every year, there are fewer of them left. As investors seek safe havens and tangible stores of wealth, demand for numismatic rarities tends to rise. This is part of the reason why rare coins have consistently outperformed many traditional investments over the long term, sometimes appreciating faster than gold, silver, or real estate. The psychology of collecting and investing also plays a significant role in the 1981 penny's future. Humans are drawn to objects that connect them to history, that embody craftsmanship, and that carry stories. A coin like the 1981 penny does all of these things. It is a physical link to a specific year and era. It is the product of skilled engraving and precise minting techniques. And it carries with it countless stories, from the mint workers who created it to the millions of people who used it in their daily lives. These qualities ensure that interest in the coin will endure long after its original economic purpose has faded. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1981 penny's evolving legacy is the role of legendary discoveries. Throughout history, some of the most valuable coins ever found were initially dismissed as insignificant. They were sitting unnoticed in jars of loose change, tucked away in attic boxes, or buried in forgotten collections. Then, one day, someone recognized their significance: a double die here, an off-metal strike there, a near-perfect proof specimen in an original mint set, and the numismatic world changed overnight. These stories are part of the mythology of coin collecting, and they add a sense of adventure and romance that few other hobbies can match. Imagine, for instance, a scenario where a collector stumbles upon a previously unknown 1981 penny error, perhaps a double denomination strike where a penny was accidentally overstruck on a dime, or a mule error combining mismatched obverse and reverse dies. Such discoveries, though exceedingly rare, are not impossible. And when they occur, they can catapult a humble 1-cent coin into the realm of 7-figure valuations. This possibility, however remote, fuels the dreams of collectors and keeps the hunt alive. The role of grading services and third-party authentication will also become increasingly important as the market matures. In an era where counterfeits and altered coins are a growing concern, certification from a trusted authority adds tremendous value and credibility. Coins graded and encapsulated by top-tier services not only command higher prices but also enjoy greater liquidity in the marketplace. For the 1981 penny, this means that coins certified as MS-67, MS-68, or higher will continue to appreciate significantly more than raw, ungraded examples. Likewise, proofed coins with flawless PR70 designations will likely become crown jewels of advanced collections. Long-term forecasts from leading numismatic experts point to sustained growth in the market for key Lincoln cent issues, including transitional years like 1981. These experts cite several factors: the ongoing retirement of early baby boomer collectors who are fueling demand as they complete sets, the increasing global interest in U.S. coinage, and the digitization of numismatic education, which is bringing new collectors into the fold at unprecedented rates. All of these trends converge to suggest that the next several decades could see dramatic appreciation in the value of high-quality 1981 pennies. Even government policy could play an unexpected role in shaping the future of the penny. If the U.S. Mint ever discontinues the 1-cent coin, a move that has been debated for decades, surviving examples will instantly become historical artifacts. Such a development would likely spark a surge of interest and a corresponding spike in prices. The same principle applies if new information about the mintage process emerges, if previously unknown varieties are discovered, or if coins with remarkable provenance come to light. The numismatic market is dynamic and often unpredictable, and these moments of revelation are what make it so exciting. But perhaps the most profound reason why the 1981 penny's legacy will continue to grow is the timeless appeal of the Lincoln cent series itself. No other U.S. coin has been in continuous production for as long. No other series has captured the public imagination in quite the same way. It is a series that tells the story of America, from the rise of modern coinage in the early 20th century to the technological revolutions of the 21st. It reflects the nation's values, its challenges, and its achievements. And at the heart of that story, the 1981 penny holds a special place, a bridge between the past and the future, between tradition and change, between the everyday and the extraordinary. As we continue to explore the seemingly endless story of the 1981 penny, it becomes clear that its journey is not just confined to coin albums, mint sets, or dusty drawers in old houses. It is also a story written in auction halls, private sales, and collector showrooms, places where fortunes are made and histories are rewritten. In these spaces, coins that once clinked unnoticed in pockets and cash registers emerge as stars, commanding staggering prices and international attention. And among those coins, certain 1981 pennies have already made their mark, while others are poised to do so in the future. The world of high-end numismatic auctions is a universe unto itself. Every year, prestigious auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections present collections that include some of the rarest and most desirable coins on the planet. These events attract bidders from across the globe, passionate collectors, wealthy investors, museums, and even private foundations, all competing for pieces of history. It is in these arenas that coins like the 1981 penny can leap from pocket change to life-changing fortune. While most 1981 pennies remain modestly valued, there have been instances where exceptional specimens shattered expectations. A near-perfect 1981 Lincoln cent graded MS-68RD, a grade so high that only a handful exist, has fetched prices exceeding $7,000 at auction. Another example, a proof coin with flawless PR70 deep cameo surfaces, realized several $1,000s due to its rarity and pristine state. But these are just the beginning. Experts believe that if an undiscovered error or variety, such as a mule pairing, off-metal strike, or dramatic double die, were to appear in a major auction, it could easily break the six-figure barrier and potentially climb into the millions. And should a unique specimen ever surface, one with a story unlike any other, there is no theoretical ceiling to what collectors might pay. The psychology behind such extraordinary prices is fascinating. At this level of collecting, the buyers are often not motivated purely by financial gain. They are driven by prestige, by the thrill of ownership, and by the desire to possess something truly one of a kind. For them, the price tag is less about money and more about meaning, about holding in their hands a tangible piece of history that no one else can claim. It's the same impulse that drives art collectors to spend tens of millions on a painting or car enthusiasts to pay record sums for a vintage vehicle. In this context, a rare 1981 penny is not just a coin, it is a masterpiece. But auction halls are not the only places where numismatic history is made. Many of the most valuable coins ever discovered were not found under bright lights and gavel bangs. They were found in hoards. A hoard is a large accumulation of coins, often hidden away for decades or even centuries, only to be discovered unexpectedly. Some hoards are the result of deliberate saving. Perhaps a family set aside coins over generations and forgot them. Others are the product of necessity, like emergency stashes buried during times of war or economic collapse. Whatever their origin, hoards have an uncanny ability to reshape the market overnight. Imagine the discovery of a hoard containing thousands of uncirculated 1981 pennies, preserved in pristine condition and sealed in original mint packaging. Such a find would electrify the numismatic world. It could introduce rare varieties previously unknown, provide fresh examples of ultra-high-grade coins, and even reveal minting anomalies that rewrite what experts thought they knew about the 1981 production run. While this is speculative, it is not impossible, and similar discoveries have happened many times throughout history. Each time, they create waves that ripple through the market, altering values, rewriting catalogs, and igniting new waves of collector interest. There is also the possibility of sleeper coins, coins that have gone unnoticed for decades but suddenly gain attention due to new discoveries or shifts in collector preferences. The 1981 penny is a prime candidate for this phenomenon. For years, many collectors dismissed this date as too common to be significant. But as more attention is paid to transitional year varieties, subtle minting anomalies, and condition rarity, the narrative is changing. Coins once ignored as ordinary are now being re-examined under microscopes, with specialists searching for nuances that could make them worth thousands, or even millions, of dollars. Another driving factor in the future potential of the 1981 penny is the nostalgia effect. Numismatic history shows a consistent pattern. Collectors often gravitate toward the coins of their childhood as they reach their peak earning years. This phenomenon has fueled price surges in countless series over the decades. As the generation that grew up in the late 1970s and early 1980s enters its prime collecting years, demand for coins from that era, including the 1981 penny, is expected to rise sharply. Nostalgia is a powerful force, and when combined with scarcity and historical significance, it can create explosive price growth. The 1981 penny's journey is also influenced by broader cultural trends. We are living in an age where physical artifacts, from vinyl records to vintage toys, are experiencing resurgences in popularity. People crave tangible connections to the past in a digital world, and coins are among the most accessible and evocative artifacts of all. They carry the weight of history in the palm of your hand. They spark memories, tell stories, and connect generations. As society places increasing value on authenticity and heritage, coins like the 1981 penny will only become more desirable. It's also worth noting the influence of global collectors, particularly from countries where U.S. currency holds historical or cultural significance. Interest in U.S. coinage is booming in markets like China, Japan, India, and the Middle East, and these collectors often bring significant financial power to the table. Their entry into the market has already driven prices higher for key American coins, and their continued participation will ensure that demand remains strong. For the 1981 penny, this expanding international audience represents a powerful force that could propel its value to new heights. And then there are the legends, the stories that inspire collectors to dream bigger and reach higher. Stories of coins found in circulation that turned out to be worth fortunes. Stories of forgotten boxes discovered in attics containing rare varieties that no one knew existed. Stories of collectors who built empires starting with a single penny. These tales are more than just anecdotes. They are part of the mythology of numismatics, and they fuel the passion that drives the hobby forward. The 1981 penny, with its rich history, its transitional importance, and its untapped potential, is destined to become a central character in many of these stories. In the grand tapestry of coin collecting, the 1981 penny is both a beginning and an end. It marks the twilight of the full copper era and the dawn of a new age in U.S. coinage. It is a coin that most people once overlooked but that collectors now study with reverence. And it is a coin whose journey is far from over. As the decades unfold, as more discoveries are made, as more collectors join the pursuit, its value, both monetary and historical, will continue to grow. Perhaps, one day, a single 1981 penny will cross the auction block and sell for tens of millions of dollars, not just because of its rarity, but because of the story it tells and the legacy it represents. And when that day comes, it will serve as a powerful reminder that in the world of numismatics, greatness often begins with the smallest of things. The penny, the simplest, most overlooked coin, can become a treasure beyond imagination. And so, the journey continues. The 1981 penny remains out there, in collections, in vaults, in rolls of change yet to be opened. It waits patiently, its value growing silently with each passing year. It is a testament to history, a vessel of art and craftsmanship, a piece of a story that is still being written. And for those who look closely, who study deeply, who believe in the hidden power of the ordinary, it is a chance to touch greatness, perhaps even to hold $84 million in the palm of their hand. As we arrive at the final chapter of this deep exploration into the legacy of the 1981 U.S. penny, it is worth stepping back and seeing the full picture, not just of a coin, but of everything it represents. Because at its heart, the story of the 1981 cent is not simply about copper, mintage numbers, or market prices. It is about history, identity, art, and human fascination with the tangible reminders of where we've come from. It is about the endless pursuit of meaning in the smallest objects, and the way those objects connect generations across centuries. To understand the enduring power of the 1981 penny, one must first appreciate the context of its creation. It was born in an era of change, a time when the cost of materials, the dynamics of global economics, and the realities of modern minting were all shifting rapidly. The decision to move away from nearly pure copper coinage, something that had been a constant for nearly 2 centuries, marked the end of an age. The 1981 cent, minted at the very threshold of that change, stands as the last great expression of a tradition that had defined American coinage since the early days of the Republic. It is a piece of that story, a bridge between past and future, and that alone gives it historical weight beyond its face value. But it is not only history that gives this coin its power, it is the layers of meaning it has accumulated over decades. Each 1981 penny that has passed through a hand, rattled in a cash register, or rested in a pocket carries with it countless untold stories. It might have been part of a child's first allowance, a tip left on a diner table, or a donation dropped anonymously into a charity jar. It may have traveled across the country or even across the world, bearing silent witness to moments both ordinary and extraordinary. In this way, every coin becomes a tiny time capsule, and collecting them is a way of piecing together the fabric of everyday life across generations. The artistry of the 1981 penny is another facet of its enduring allure. Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, first introduced in 1909, is one of the most beloved designs in American numismatics. It is simple yet dignified, familiar yet powerful. The reverse design, the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 and used through 2008, is itself a symbol of national memory and unity. These images are more than just designs, they are deeply woven into the cultural consciousness. To hold a 1981 penny is to hold a piece of that visual language, a miniature work of art that millions recognize instantly, yet few stop to truly see. As collectors, we assign value not only based on rarity or condition but also based on the stories that coins tell. And in the case of the 1981 penny, those stories are manifold. There is the story of a nation adapting to economic realities, transitioning from copper to zinc. There is the story of countless small transactions and daily moments that together make up the rhythm of a society. There is the story of technological progress, of minting methods that became more sophisticated and precise with each passing decade. And there is the story of human curiosity and passion, the relentless search for meaning in the smallest and most unassuming artifacts. It is this combination, historical importance, artistic merit, cultural symbolism, and human connection, that transforms the 1981 penny from a mere object into something far greater. And when you add the layers of numismatic intrigue, rare errors, unique varieties, condition rarities, provenance, and market dynamics, the result is a coin that is much more than its 1-cent denomination. It becomes a potential treasure, a piece of living history, and in rare cases, a financial asset of staggering value. The possibility that a 1981 penny could one day sell for tens of millions, even the often quoted speculative figure of $84 million, is not mere fantasy. It is the logical extension of trends that have been seen repeatedly in the numismatic world. Coins once worth pennies have sold for millions when rarity, condition, demand, and historical significance align. A perfect storm of these factors, combined with an extraordinary story, a once-in-a-lifetime error, a previously unknown variety, or a coin with legendary provenance, could easily propel a 1981 cent into the realm of record-breaking sales. But beyond the monetary aspect, what truly gives the 1981 penny its enduring power is the emotional connection it fosters. Coins like these remind us that history is not just found in museums or textbooks. It is in our pockets, our drawers, our old jars of change. It is in the objects we pass by without a second thought. And it is in the hands of collectors, historians, and dreamers who recognize that even the humblest artifacts can tell the grandest stories. For many collectors, the 1981 penny is the coin that ignites a lifelong passion. It is often the first piece that sparks curiosity, leading to research, exploration, and a deeper appreciation for the art and science of numismatics. It is a gateway into a community that spans generations and continents, a shared pursuit of knowledge, beauty, and connection. And for some, it is the coin that becomes the centerpiece of a collection, a tangible link to history, and a source of pride that grows more meaningful with each passing year. So, what is the ultimate lesson of the 1981 penny? It is that greatness does not always announce itself with fanfare. Sometimes, it hides in plain sight, in a coin most people overlook, in a piece of change that passes through countless hands without notice. It teaches us that history is everywhere, even in the smallest and most ordinary objects. And it reminds us that value is not always measured in dollars and cents, but in stories, connections, and the shared human experience. In the end, the story of the 1981 US 1-cent coin is not just the story of a coin. It is the story of America, its economy, its artistry, its evolution, and its people. It is a story that stretches back over a century and forward into an uncertain future. It is a story still being written by collectors, historians, and dreamers who look beyond the surface and see something extraordinary where others see only copper and zinc. And it is a story that will continue to unfold for generations to come, as long as there are people who cherish the past, who seek the hidden treasures of history, and who believe that even the smallest things can hold the greatest significance. Perhaps, years from now, someone will look back on a 1981 penny, whether found in a dusty jar, purchased at a record-breaking auction, or passed down as a family heirloom, and see more than a coin. They will see a fragment of a nation's story. They will see the craftsmanship of another time. They will see the dreams and passions of collectors who came before them. And in that moment, they will understand that this humble cent is, in its own quiet way, priceless. And that is the true magic of the 1981 penny. It is not just metal and minting. It is memory and meaning. It is history and hope. It is the embodiment of the idea that value is everywhere, even in the smallest of coins, if only we choose to see it. And for those who do, the reward is far greater than money. It is the chance to hold a piece of time itself, and to know that in the palm of your hand lies a story that will outlast us all.